We have a word for it. Boredom. That restless, empty, itching feeling when nothing demands your attention and your mind refuses to settle. Psychologists define it as an unpleasant arousal caused by a perceived lack of meaningful engagement. It is deeply uncomfortable. It makes you reach for your phone before you even realize you've picked it up. But here is the question nobody thinks to ask. What did people do with that feeling before phones, before television, before books, before cities and markets and taverns and all the machinery of distraction we have built around ourselves? What did ancient humans do when they were bored? The answer, it turns out, is one of the most revealing things we know about what it means to be human, because boredom did not go away in the ancient world. It was always there, and what people did with it built civilization. Let's go back, not to ancient Greece or Rome, those are relatively recent. Let's go back to the Paleolithic, to the people who lived between 50,000 and 10,000 years ago. Hunter-gatherers, people who spent their days tracking animals, gathering plants, maintaining shelters, tending fires. Hard, purposeful work that consumed most of their daylight hours, but not all of them. Research by anthropologist Marshall Salins, whose work on hunter-gatherer societies remains foundational, found that the average hunter-gatherer worked between 3 and 5 hours per day to meet their basic survival needs. 3 to 5 hours. The rest of the time was theirs, unstructured, open, and yes, sometimes boring. So what did they do? They made art, compulsively, obsessively, in ways that required enormous effort for no practical survival reason. The cave paintings at Lascaux in France were created approximately 17,000 years ago. The paintings at Altamira in Spain are between 1,400 and 3,600 years old. The Chauvet Cave contains artwork dated to 3,600 years ago. Artwork so sophisticated, so anatomically precise, so compositionally deliberate that when it was discovered in 1994, many archaeologists initially refused to believe it was that old. The horses at Chauvet are drawn with shading, with movement, with an understanding of perspective that would not reappear in European art for another 35,000 years. These people were not scratching on cave walls out of practical necessity. They were deep inside cave systems, hundreds of meters from the entrance, in total darkness, carrying torches or fat lamps, lugging pigments mixed from ochre and chaurite and manganese oxide. They went to extraordinary lengths to make things that were beautiful, things that no one outside the cave might ever see. Archaeologist Aine Davidson has argued that the making of art is not a byproduct of intelligence, but one of its fundamental expressions. When the mind has space, when the immediate demands of survival are met, it fills that space with creation. Ancient humans were not creating art despite their circumstances. They were creating art because their circumstances gave them time. Boredom made the first art. They told stories. Every human culture ever studied, without exception, has stories, myths, narratives, explanations. The universality of storytelling across all human populations suggests it is not a cultural invention, but a biological drive, something the mind does when it has the luxury of reflection. Cognitive scientist Mark Turner at Case Western University has argued that storytelling is the fundamental operation of the human mind, that narrative thought precedes language, and that what we call stories are the mind's natural way of organizing experience, making sense of the world, and rehearsing possible futures.
Ancient humans told stories around fires. We know this not from written records. Writing would not be invented for tens of thousands of years, but from the earliest myths, which show remarkable structural consistency across cultures that had no contact with each other. The hero who descends into darkness and returns transformed. The trickster who breaks the rules of the world and creates something new. The great flood that destroys and renews. These structures appear in Aboriginal Australian stories, in Native American traditions, in ancient Mesopotamian texts, in Norse mythology, in Greek epic. They are so universal that psychologist Carl Jung proposed they emerge from a shared deep structure of the human mind, what he called the collective unconscious. When ancient humans sat around the fire with nothing that needed doing, they told each other stories, and in so doing, they transmitted knowledge, built social bonds, rehearsed moral dilemmas, and preserved the accumulated wisdom of generations in the only format that existed, the spoken word. Boredom made the first literature. They played. The evidence for ancient play is scattered, material, and surprisingly abundant. Dice have been found at archaeological sites dating back 5,000 years in the Middle East. Board game boards have been discovered in ancient Egyptian tombs. A game called Senet, the oldest known board game, was being played in Egypt at least 5,000 years ago. Mancala boards have been carved into stone surfaces across Africa and the Middle East, some dated to over 7,000 years ago. But play goes back much further than board games. Anthropologist Brian Sutton Smith, who spent his career studying the biology of play, documented evidence of what appears to be playful behavior, rough-and-tumble wrestling, object manipulation, competitive running, in human populations going back to the earliest archaeological record. Figurines, small carved human and animal shapes with no obvious ritual purpose, appear in the archaeological record across dozens of ancient cultures. Many researchers believe these were toys. Children played, adults played. Play appears to be as fundamental to human psychology as eating and sleeping, and it flourished in the gaps. In the afternoons when the work was done and the light was still good. Play has how ancient humans practiced skills, built relationships, established social hierarchies, processed fear and aggression in safe environments, and maintained the mental flexibility that made them adaptable. Johan Huizinga, the Dutch historian who wrote the foundational work on play in human culture, argued that play is not a break from serious human activity. Play is the origin of serious human activity. Law, ritual, war, art, sport, all of it, he argued, grew from play. Boredom made the first games. They decorated everything. Beads made from shells, teeth, and bones, clearly used for personal ornamentation, have been found at sites in South Africa dating back 75,000 years. Ochre, a red iron oxide pigment, shows signs of deliberate processing and use for body decoration at sites going back 100,000 years. Perforated shells suggesting necklaces or bracelets appear across multiple ancient cultures with no direct contact with each other. Decoration is another behavior that has no direct survival value. A necklace does not help you hunt. Body paint does not keep you warm. And yet ancient humans invested significant time and effort in adorning themselves and each other. Archaeologist Francesco de Errico at the University of Bordeaux has argued that personal ornamentation is one of the earliest and most reliable markers of modern cognitive behavior, evidence that ancient people had a concept of identity, of self-presentation, of how they appeared to others. When there was nothing that needed doing, they made themselves beautiful. They made their tools beautiful. They carved patterns into objects that no one might ever see. A 77,000-year-old piece of ochre from Blombos Cave in South Africa is engraved with a geometric crosshatch pattern. No practical function, just pattern. Just the need to put order on the surface of things. Boredom made the first fashion. They watched the sky. Prehistoric astronomical observation is one of the most underappreciated achievements of ancient humans. Stonehenge, begun around 5,000 years ago, is precisely aligned to the summer solstice rise and winter solstice sunset. Newgrange in Ireland, built around 5,200 years ago, is designed so that sunlight enters a long passage and illuminates an inner chamber for exactly 17 minutes at dawn on the winter solstice. The Manidra temples in Malta, built around 5,600 years ago, function as a precise solar calendar. These were not accidents of construction. They required decades of systematic observation, watching where the sun rose and set across seasons,
noting the patterns, recording them in some form, and then building massive stone structures to mark them permanently. This is science. This is the systematic observation of natural phenomena, the identification of patterns, and the creation of predictive models. It required curiosity. It required time. It required people with nothing more immediately pressing to do than look up and wonder what was happening in the sky. Cognitive historian Dwayne Homacher at the University of Melbourne has documented astronomical knowledge in Aboriginal Australian oral traditions that appears to accurately describe phenomena, including a supernova visible from Earth around 4,500 years ago, preserved across hundreds of generations of storytelling. Ancient people were not passive in the face of the sky. They were studying it, mapping it, building calendars with it. Boredom made the first science. They experimented with substances. The archaeological evidence for ancient use of psychoactive plants is extensive and global. Residue analysis of pottery in containers from ancient sites in the Americas, Europe, Africa, and Asia have found evidence of fermented beverages, cannabis, coca, and a range of other psychoactive plants going back thousands, and in some cases, tens of thousands of years. The oldest known evidence of brewing, the intentional fermentation of grain into alcohol, comes from Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a ritual site dated to approximately 1160 years ago. Archaeobotanist Patrick McGovern at the University of Pennsylvania has spent decades analyzing chemical residues from ancient vessels and found evidence of fermented beverages across dozens of ancient cultures on multiple continents. Why did ancient humans brew alcohol, chew psychoactive plants, and smoke hallucinogenic substances? The easy answer is escapism, but anthropologist Weston LeBar proposed a more nuanced explanation, that the use of mind-altering substances was fundamentally linked to spiritual practice, to deliberate attempts to access altered states of consciousness for purposes of healing, divination, and contact with what ancient people understood as the spirit world. The shaman who consumed peyote or ayahuasca was not getting high for entertainment. They were working, using the altered state as a tool. But the altered state required free time. It required the space to sit, to experience, to integrate. Boredom, or at least its absence of external demand, was the container in which ancient spiritual and psychological exploration happened. So here is what the evidence tells us. When ancient humans had free time, genuine, unstructured, undirected free time, they did not waste it. They could not. The human brain, it turns out, is pathologically uncomfortable with emptiness, with meaninglessness, with the absence of engagement. And so it generates engagement, compulsively, creatively, endlessly. It painted, it told stories, it played, it decorated, it watched the sky. It altered its own consciousness to see what was on the other side. Everything we consider the hallmark of human civilization, art, narrative, science, religion, philosophy, music, fashion, grew from those quiet hours between the hunt and the sleep, from the fire burning down and someone needing something to do. Psychologist Sandy Mann at the University of Central Lancashire has spent years studying boredom in modern humans and reached a conclusion that would not have surprised any Paleolithic cave painter. Boredom is not the enemy of creativity. Boredom is the engine of creativity. The uncomfortable emptiness of an unoccupied mind is the pressure that pushes creative thought to the surface. Ancient humans were bored, and everything they did about it built the world you are living in right now. The next time you reach for your phone because you cannot stand the silence, consider what you might be interrupting. Subscribe for more understanding.